Hi there! Today I'm going to be trying out this Cookie Countess Magic Stencil screen. I have a cookie project where I want some really clean, crisp results. I'm working on a gingham cookie and I want the lines to be super crisp, and this product, that's exactly what it's for. It's for creating a really exact pattern without bleeding. So we're gonna go ahead and try it out. And I'm also gonna be using this Cookie Countess vertical stencil for the gingham pattern. So it's gonna be just switched one way and then another to create the pattern. And we're gonna be using the screen over top to get that clean, crisp result we're looking for. So let's go ahead and try this out. So here we have our royal iced cookies. They're tulips and they've already been iced in white royal icing and green royal icing for the leaf, as you can see. And then we're just gonna take some saran wrap or plastic wrap and cover the leaf portion of the cookie because we don't wanna get the airbrush all over the cookie. We just want it on the tulip portion, the flower. So I'm just getting this covered up. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our vertical stencil to create the gingham pattern. For the first cookie, we're not going to use the Cookie Countess Magic Stencil screen. We're going to just do the stencil, the vertical stencil with no screen. And then we'll go ahead and use the screen and you can see the two different results. So I'm going to go ahead right now and place this vertical stencil screen onto my tulip cookie. I'm just placing it on there on a diagonal angle because that's how I want my gingham pattern to be. And then I'm getting the airbrush ready with some pink airbrush color. And I'm going to go ahead and start spraying. And I'm just using the medium setting. That's the setting that this airbrush comes onto naturally, just the middle setting. That's a nice setting to start with if you don't know which setting you might want. It's just right in the middle and it doesn't add too much color and not too little. I feel like it's the starting point generally. So I've got that stencil airbrushed, and now I'm going to take my vertical stencil and flip it the other way so that those lines are perpendicular to each other to create that gingham pattern. And I'm going to go ahead again and get my airbrush and go ahead and spray again using just the medium setting. That's the setting that my airbrush comes onto. And this only takes a couple drops of color, 1 or 2 drops of color, and you probably won't even need to refill. I'm not refilling here for this cookie, but a little bit goes a long way. So then I'm going to carefully lift up this vertical stencil and we're going to see what the result looks like. We're going to see if the lines are clean and crisp or if they are blurry. And then we'll go ahead and use the magic stencil and see the different results. So here's the finished cookie. And it looks good, a little bit blurry, but we're gonna go ahead and do this again, this time using the Cookie Countess Magic Stencil screen. So again, we're getting a blank cookie ready that's already been royal iced, and we've got our wrap over to protect the leaf portion. And this time, it's gonna be the same process. We're gonna put the vertical Cookie Countess screen or stencil on top of this cookie in the same fashion on a diagonal angle. And then we're going to go ahead this time though, and we're going to put the Cookie Countess Magic Stencil screen on top of it. So this screen is going to go right on top of everything, and we're actually going to spray through the screen. And this is going to help us get these really crisp, clean results. This is what the screen is for, to prevent the bleeding, to prevent the blurring, and to just have a really crisp, clean result. So we're going to see if that's the case. And we're just going to rotate that stencil again like we did the last time so that the vertical lines are now perpendicular with the lines we just created. So that process is the same. And then we want to remember we're going to go ahead and put the magic stencil screen on top before we start airbrushing. So there we go. We've got the screen on top. And as you can see, I didn't clean the screen in between airbrushing. I just simply put it back on and it's fine. It will not transfer color onto your cookie, so you don't need to worry about that. And I'm just spraying again, just using the medium setting on my airbrush and giving it a good spray. And then we're going to be ready to remove the screen and see how different our cookies look. And when you're lifting up the stencil, this vertical stencil, be careful. Try to lift straight up because that's going to help keep it clean. Now we've got the cookie there on the left that was made with the Magic Cookie Stencil screen. And we've got our other cookie there that just had the vertical stencil on the right. Comparing these two cookies, you can really see that there is a difference in using the Magic Cookie Stencil screen. The one that we use the cookie screen on is the cookie on the left, and the lines are very crisp and clean. The cookie on the right has darker lines and a little bit of blur. I wouldn't necessarily say bleeding, but a little bit of a blurry result. Whereas the cookie on the left is so clean and crisp, and it is lighter in color. But I think if you airbrush that a little bit more, you can get a deeper color if you prefer. I think the cookie on the left looks great. It's just the design that we wanted, the gingham pattern that we're looking for. It looks uniform and consistent. The cookie on the right has a little bit darker lines and an inconsistent heaviness to the weight of that. So if you want to create cookies with clean, crisp lines and no blurring, I definitely would recommend the Magic Cookie Stencil screen. It just adds that extra professional touch.